Hello, everyone. My name is Rodiat, your favorite holistic nutrition student. I hope that I meet you all in peace and I hope that I meet you all in good health. Today, being the World Kidney Day, I felt the need to speak to my beautiful people regarding this special and vital organ called kidney. Kidney, most of us, 90% of the population have two kidneys. We have many people that were actually born with just one kidney, even they were supposed to be born, you know, with two kidneys. So we have two, and they are located just right, you know, beside our spines. We have two, one on the left side and one on the right side, and they are being shaped. You know that shape of the beans? That is how your kidney actually looks. And when we are talking about the size of the kidney, each kidney is about 10 to 12 centimeter, in diameter, which means they are just like, the size of a clenched feet, like the, a clenched hand or fist, like that. So on each side. And another thing is, this is a second out of our vital organs aside liver. Liver is the organ that actually take the larger percentage of the daily blood that is being pumped by the heart. So after liver, we have the kidney, taking up between 20 to 25% of daily blood. Each time, each minute that your heart has to pump blood, that 20 to 25% of that blood supply will actually go to your kidney. And why? Because kidney is so important. It's got numerous functions, it's got numerous jobs to do within the body. And we are going to be looking at some of this job. Number one, you know the primary function of the kidney is to do what we call filtration of the blood. you know your blood is not just blood, it is oxygenated blood. And when you have oxygenated blood, we're gonna have toxins, we're gonna have waste. You eat sugar, you eat salt, you bombard your system with a lot of things that are not healthy, and everything find their ways into your bloodstream. So before your vital organs, on the cellular level, before they get the blood, oxygenated blood to be used, your kidney will have to do what we call filtration. Your kidney will have to filter your blood, filter away all of the toxins, filter away all of the excess, protein, excess, the things that are not needed, within your cell tissues, or the things that, that when they get to your cell tissues, they may cause damage. Your kidney will have to filter that, you know, and turn that into our urine, which is the waste, and pass it into what we call the ureter. From ureter, it goes into your bladder. From your bladder, it goes into urethra. Urethra is the opening into your genital, penis for the men, and we have vagina for the women. So this is how what we call your circulatory, system. This is how it works. So then after that, the primary function of the kidney is to filter your blood, to filter the toxins, the waste away, and then pass them into the proper, appropriate quota to be taken out of your system. That is number one. And it is not actually your kidney that does the filtration. There are chemical particles that we call nephrons. These nephrons, they are like little holes, that are present in the kidney. These are the ones that the filtration is going to go in through. In fact, each kidney contains between 1 to 2 million, not less than 2 million nephrons, that we have within just one kidney. So these nephrons are what is going to help with the filtration, of the toxins out of your system. And apart from that, studies actually show that at least in a day, your kidney will have to filter about 180 liters of blood. Imagine. So within the system, as I'm speaking, as I'm, blinking, as I'm talking, as I'm laughing, smiling. I am using blood. My kidney is doing filtration. For all of this to come together, we need oxygenated blood for that. And that is what your kidney is going to be doing. The kidney is there 24/7 doing filtration of your blood, and it filters about 180 liters of blood per day. Another thing the kidney is going to do is it is responsible, for making sure that all of the cell tissues they get the blood that they need to function properly. So, and another thing, one of the primary assignments of your kidney is in charge to produce your red blood cells. Kidney is what is going to make sure that your red blood cell is produced, from iron, from your hemoglobin concentration, so that you do not become anemic. So that is another thing that your kidney will have to do for you. And another thing that it has to do, kidney is what is in charge of your blood pressure. Blood pressure that we hear today everywhere you go, blood pressure, it is your kidney. Once you allow your kidney to go into trauma, once the kidney is not working, especially your renal, function. Renal is not just kidney. There are a lot of things that are involved in your renal circulation. So once you allow that, to become defective, you are going to have issue with your blood pressure, and most of the time it is always high blood pressure. So control, you know the amount of toxins that you provide into your blood, that you allow to seep into your blood, so that your kidney can actually function properly. And another thing, it removes excess fluid. You see, that is why one of the major symptoms of renal failure, or maybe a defective kidney, is to make sure that you are not retaining water. Once you begin to retain water, you look at your feet, you look at your hands, you look at your feet, you look at your eye, the underneath your eye. Once you begin to accumulate fluid, excess water there, that is number one symptom of the fact that your kidney is actually in trauma. Your kidney is in problem, because your kidney, for it to not be able to filter the excess water out of your blood, all of the areas that the water, you'll have to retain the water anyway. So, and that is the problem. You are definitely going to develop high blood pressure with that, because the sugar, the salt, the excess protein, the excess fat, everything, that is supposed to come out of your system as waste, they are being retained, so, and that is not a good thing. And another thing that it does is, kidney is what is in charge of maintaining your bone density. How strong your bone is going to become depends on your kidney. So please make sure this vital organ is functioning properly. Do not obstruct, do not truncate, its job. And another thing is going to do is going to regulate the ions concentration in your body. When we are talking about the ions, we are talking about the electrolytes, in form of the positive ions and the negative ions. We have magnesium, we have calcium, we have potassium. These ones are the positive ions, especially your electrolytes. And on the other side, we have the negative ions, we have the fluoride, we have the chloride. These ones are the negative ions. It is your kidney that is in charge to regulate, the function of these ions, making sure that you do not have, overload of one, you are not having dominance of one. For example, sodium and potassium. It is your kidney that will have to make sure that you are not having dominance, of sodium with that potassium. Even if you have high sodium within your blood system, if you have enough potassium to slow the absorption down, you may not have problem. But most of the time that we heard people, suffering high blood pressure due to the, high amount of salt they are consuming, it is not because of the salt per se. It is not because of the sodium. It is the lack of potassium, to balance it up. Once you have imbalance of sodium and potassium, nothing to slow your sodium down. It's just going to bombard your blood. So this is what your kidney is there to do, to regulate the performance, the balance of your ions, the ion concentration, the positive and the negative. Your positive most of the time being your electrolytes. And we have calcium, we have potassium, we have magnesium. We have four of them, So these are the ions that carries charges into the brain, you know, all of you. Once you begin to have, like, for example, once you lack magnesium, you are going to be having, like, what is it called, muscle cramp, all of this. So because your cell tissues are not they are not receiving, like electric charges, you understand what I'm saying? So please make sure. And another thing, your kidney is in charge to produce your hormones. Yeah, there are some hormones, you know, that your kidney will have to produce every single day. So make sure that nothing is truncating, these vital organs, performance. Make sure that it is in good shape. Make sure that, you know, you don't bombard these vital organs, with toxins, with unnecessary, diet, watch where you eat, look into your diet, look into your nutrition to make sure that you keep this organ, as healthy as possible. It is important. So, I think let's talk about the symptoms. Once you begin to see the symptoms, then undoubtedly you need to check, you know, your kidney. You need to go to the hospital. You need to get your blood tested. They need to check the protein. If you have protein leaking into your blood, that is going to, weigh your kidney down. That is going to break your kidney down. We don't want protein in the blood. When you have too much of fat or something. The same thing when you have a lot of fat, in your blood, clogging your arteries, increasing your chance of having bad cholesterol. The same thing with protein. We don't want protein in the blood. So that is number one thing. And how do you know? When you begin to have frequent headache, this headache that refuses all forms of peace, you've used paracetamol, you've all of the you know over the counter drugs, painkillers, yet this headache is not going. It is time for you to check your blood, to check your urine, and see if your kidney is still functioning properly. That is number one, frequent headache. And number two is fatigue, extreme tiredness. When you walk just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps, you're already tired, you're already gasping for air, you're already palpitated, you already want water. It's like you want to give up. You need to check your kidney. Something is not right with that. If you are always, though these symptoms may be symptoms, for other underlying health issue, because most of the time these symptoms, they are like, you know, like almost the same. So, but if you don't check, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't get to know most of the time. So it is important that you check, please. Another thing is high blood pressure. Definitely high blood pressure, because once you cannot control the amount of sugar and the amount of sodium that is coming into your blood, you will definitely develop high blood pressure, because your heart will have to pump blood under extreme pressure. So that pressure that your blood is hitting your arteries is what is going to be giving you what you know that pressure, that high blood pressure. So you are going to be feeling the pressure on the arteries. You see, it is because we don't get to see all of these things. We don't get to see. They are from the inside. So that is even another reason why we really need to take extra care, you know, in making sure that we keep these organs, as healthy as possible, because we don't even get to see the damage that is going on. Unlike the skin, which is our inside turn, you know, in our inside turn, outside out. So let us be careful. And another thing I've mentioned earlier on, the puffiness. When you begin to see that puffiness, underneath your eye, when we call it eye bag most of the time, it is time to check for your kidney. It is time to check your urine and see if your kidney has not actually broken down, because you will begin to retain water, sugar, salt, and all of that. So, and another thing that is going to happen with that is insulin resistance. Once you cannot control the amount of sugar, or once your insulin has given up, cannot regulate the amount of sugar that you have in your bloodstream, and you become a hyperglycemia, definitely that job will be too much for your kidney. Filtration will be difficult for your kidney, because your kidney will be under pressure to get the excess sugar out, to get the, or once you become a hypernatremia, that is too much of salt, of sodium in your blood, your kidney will be under pressure to get these things out, and then they go into trauma or they break down. We don't want that. We don't want that. Yes. Now let's focus on, the areas, the 5 areas that you really have to focus on when you really want to have a healthy and clean kidney. Number one is you need to make sure that you lower your blood pressure. Always check your blood pressure and make sure it is lowered. Do not allow it to get out of hand. The lower your blood pressure, the high chance that you have, with your kidney, doing what it's supposed to do, and then so everything will be fine. Also, you lower your blood sugar. It is important, because your kidney will be under pressure to get the excess out, and when that pressure is too much, a stage is going to come that it won't be able to cope anymore. Liver is different from kidney, because most of the time liver is the only organ that is, molded to regenerate itself, unlike your kidneys. Kidney cannot regenerate it, themselves. So that is why you really have to look after your kidneys. Once they are gone, they are gone. Another thing, make sure you don't become anemia. And this is the lack of red blood cells. When you have your hemoglobin that is not concentrated enough, you are going to become anemic. You are not going to have, a complete red blood cells, and that can actually, cause fatigue, lethargy, high blood pressure as well, a lot. So make sure that you check your iron level. Make sure you are not iron depleted. Iron depletion is the major cause of anemia. So let's be careful. And another thing is, you need to make sure that you check your bone density. Make sure you are not deficient in calcium and vitamin D as well. Both of them together. If you lack vitamin D, your calcium is not going to be absorbed from your stomach. So, all of these things, they work together. Make sure that you keep your eyes on all of this. And the last thing is your cholesterol. Do your lipid-based test and make sure your cholesterol, is at the normal place. We don't want too much of LDL. We don't want your arteries to be clogged, because once you allow your arteries to be clogged, it will be difficult for the blood to pass through. The passage for the blood, once you have that clogged, your heart will be under force, under pressure to pump blood. We don't want that. These are the things that can actually, break your kidneys down. And I think with this little knowledge, I've been able to at least pass one or two points across to you. And please be careful over the counter drugs. The abuse on over the counter drugs can actually break your kidneys down. Your NSAIDs, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory drugs, ibuprofen, aspirin, paracetamol, Tylenol, tramadol. All of these are so detriment to vital organs. Let's be careful. So, and on this note, I would love to leave you with this. Much love and God bless you. Bye.